This is the story called A Brer Rabbit Christmas. Now, the story does have a song in it that's sung in tune to a very familiar Christmas carol. However, the words have been, well, changed, or what I like to say, chatterized, so it fits the context of this story. And it goes like this. A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3. Walking around Brer Rabbit's carrot patch, picking up every carrot I see. I'm gonna grab a few, not just two, and make some carrot stew for me. Because I'm walking around Brer Rabbit's carrot patch, picking up every carrot I see. I'm gonna grab a few, not just two, and make some carrot stew for me. Hee hee hee. Okay, let's get it straight. It had been a pretty rough year for our friend Mr. Brer Fox. I mean, he'd been the butt of Brer Rabbit's jokes and his tricks and his traps for most of the year. You see, Brer Rabbit had tricked him into putting his precious tail into some ice, cold water. Brer Rabbit had also tricked Brer Fox into escaping his clutches and throwing him into the briar patch. And most recently, he had tricked Brer Fox out of his crop of peanuts, maters, and taters. So Brer Fox was due to give Brer Rabbit some revenge. Well, lo and behold, that would take place on Christmas Eve. Now, you see, the animals had an annual celebration every Christmas Eve morning. Now, some of you may have heard of something called a sip and see. Well, the animals had themselves something different called a tale and tea, where they got together and talked about tales, but not folk tales or fairy tales or personal tales. They actually talked about tales, you know, their own tales. Their long tales, their fairy tales, their hairy tales, their skinny tales. They even got together and talked about, well, ox tails and pig tails too. Now, Brer Rabbit was the chairman of the board of the Tale and Tea Committee, so his presence was imperative at each of these annual meetings. Brer Fox, on the other hand, well, he was just an associate member, so he could have a proxy go in his stead. And he decided on the morning of Christmas Eve, when everybody was at the Tale and Tea, including Mr. Brer Rabbit, he was going to sneak over to Brer Rabbit's house and get that precious crop of carrots. Well, on the morning of Christmas Eve, Brer Fox did just that. He got himself a sack from his barn and headed over to Brer Rabbit's house and hid across the street in the bushes and waited for Brer Rabbit to leave. He waited and waited and waited and waited some more until he heard Brer Rabbit's door open up, and lo and behold, Brer Rabbit came hippity-hoppity out the door and headed down the road to the Tale and Tea. That's when Brer Fox made his move. He darted across the street, pew, like a streak of lightning, and went directly behind Brer Rabbit's house where he knew the carrot crop was, and he was not disappointed. There were crops everywhere, and he was so excited, he started singing his song almost immediately. I was walking around Brer Rabbit's carrot patch, picking up every carrot I see. I'm gonna grab a few, not just two, and make some carrot stew for me. 'Cause I'm walking around Brer Rabbit's carrot patch, picking up every carrot I see. I'm gonna grab a few, not just two, and make some carrot stew for me. Hee hee hee. He did just that. He picked and he plopped. He picked and he plopped. He picked and he plopped. He picked and he plopped until he plopped all of those carrots that he could into a sack that filled all the way up to the very tip top. And that's when he tied a little string around it, more like a rope, and threw it up the sack on his shoulders and headed back home, where he started chopping up those carrots like this. Put them in a pot of water, where he added salt, a little pepper, some oregano, and some other choice seasonings and fixings, making his carrot stew. And as that was brewing and he was waiting, the meeting where Brer Rabbit had attended this Tale and Tea was letting out around noon. And when Brer Rabbit got back home and saw the back of his house and saw that the carrot patch had been violated, ooh, he was hotter than a hive of hornets that been struck by a bear claw. So he was looking around at the footprints and couldn't make out who they were until he saw a long, thin strand of curly brown hair and says, aha, I know who's been here. There's only one animal that has a strand of hair like this, and that one animal was not at the tail and tea meet, and that was Brer Fox. I'm gonna get him and get my carrots back. So Brer Rabbit went down the road with a head full of steam. And I do mean a head full of steam because you could see it coming out his ears like this. He was making his way over to Brer Fox's house when all of a sudden the smell of that carrot stew hit him. And it was leading directly to Brer Fox's house. And he only got madder when he got close to the door and heard Brer Fox in there singing. I was walking around Brer Rabbit's carrot patch, picking up every carrot I see. I'm gonna grab a few, not just two, and make some carrot stew for me. 'Cause I was walking around Brer Rabbit's carrot patch, picking up every carrot I see. I'm gonna grab a few, not just two, and make some carrot stew for me. Hee hee hee. And then Brer Fox took a big old sip of that stew. And when Brer Rabbit heard that last, he knocked on the door like this. Knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. I mean, really, do you think if he was that mad that someone had taken his carrots and made some stew from the carrots they'd taken, that he'd go over there with a head full of steam and knock like this? Knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. No! He knocked on the door like this, like a giant. Boom! 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 So much so that it shook the door and the house. And then he says, Brer Fox, this is Brer Rabbit. I know you've got my carrots in there. I hear you singing about them, and I can smell that carrot stew. Bring me back my carrots right now. Now, Brer Fox on the inside was just having a ball, laughing. I don't know what you're talking about, Brer Rabbit. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do, Brer Fox. I know it was you that took my carrots. I've got a strand of your hair here, and I saw your footprints in my carrot patch. So sorry, says Brer Fox. I'm not coming out to the spring. I'm going to sit here and enjoy the heat and my food. That made Brer Rabbit even madder, so mad that he did something unwise. He took his right foot and with all his might, boom-a-lam-bam-ba, boom, 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 kicked that door. But it wasn't the best idea, like I said, because he stubbed his toe and says, ow, ow, and it started throbbing, boom, 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 boom. So that when he made his way back to his house, he was doing a different kind of bunny hop. But as he was going back home, he was figuring out in his mind how he could get back at Brer Fox. And by the time he made it home, ladies and gentlemen, he had come up with a plan. First thing he did was go to his barn out back and get 2 sacks. Then he also picked up his military issue utility belt that had all kind of tools on it, including a customary grapple hook. He went to his front yard and took one of those sacks and filled it up with all the rocks and pebbles that he could find and tied a rope around it, more like a drawstring to keep it shut. Then he went inside and went digging in the back crevices of his closet where he picked out 2 things. One was a nice red jacket with some white trim on it, and then he got him a nice red hat, much like this one with some white trim on it. He put them both on, and when it got about dusk, just about to turn dark, he took that sack of rocks and he went back over to Brer Fox's house. Now, upon reaching Brer Fox's house, he took off that grapple hook from his utility belt and swung it around and threw it to the top of the roof. Cling, cling, cling. And when it grabbed hold, he secured that box of rocks and pebbles on his back so that it wouldn't fall off, and he made his way climbing up the side of Brer Fox's house like this. I mean, it was just like the Cape Crusaders in the Batman and Robin series in the 60s going up the side of that house. Well, he got to the top of the roof and started rustling around and making his way to the chimney. Now, by this time, Brer Fox, who was really enjoying his carrot stew, had heard all that rustling on the roof and went over to the chimney where the sound was coming down and says, "Hey, who's that on my roof?" And that's when Brer Rabbit says, "Ho, ho, ho, it's me, Brother Christmas. Ho, 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 it's me, Brother Christmas. And I have some Christmas presents for Brer Fox. Ho, ho, ho." Now this excited Brer Fox, but he wasn't expecting Brother Christmas this early. So in his excitement, he went to his door, opened it up, and looked up on the roof. And sure enough, he could see someone up there. He couldn't quite make out who it was, but it did look like Brother Christmas with the hat and the jacket. Even in the dust, he could make this out. So he went back inside and says, "Oh, Brother Christmas, why don't you just come on down the chimney with the presents?" "Oh," says Brother Christmas, I can't make it down. Seems like I'm stuck in the chimney." "Well, just bring the bag, just put the bag down." "Well, it's stuck with me. You're going to have to come up the chimney and pull on the drawstring to pull the bag down." Well, Brother Fox says, "Okay, I can do that." And that, my friends, is when Brother Fox went over to the chimney and started climbing up. Clink, clank, clink, clank, clink, clank, clink. And as he was climbing up, Brer Rabbit had made his way from the chimney, where that sack was sitting upside down with the drawstrings going down, and took the other end of the grapple hook that had the rope on it and swung down from the top of the roof to that front door that Brer Fox had left open in all of his excitement of hearing Brother Christmas. Once inside, Brer Rabbit went over and grabbed that bag of carrots that he saw. He grabbed that carrot stew that Brer Fox had cooked. He grabbed the hen on the table, the cranberry sauce, the potato salad, and his very favorite dessert, a homemade sweet potato pie. He took all of those things and put them in an empty sack that he'd brought with him. Meanwhile, as he made his way back home, Brer Fox was still making his way up the chimney until he reached that drawstring where that bag full of rocks was. And he pulled on it, it didn't come down. He pulled on it again, it didn't come down. And you know what they say, in life and in stories, things happen in what? Threes. So he pulled on it the third time, and when he did, that sack opened up and all those rocks and pebbles came, bip, bam, boom, whamma, whacka, 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 whacka. And Brer Fox went rumbling, tumbling, and bumbling all the way down with them to the bottom of the chimney, where he landed in a pile of stones, rock, ash, and soot. And not only that, he had a great big old knot upside his head that was throbbing like Brer Rabbit's foot was. Doo, doo, doo. And when he looked around, he didn't have any food anymore, and the only thing he had to show for it was indeed that great big knot on the side of his head. Meanwhile, back at Brer Rabbit's house, the scene was totally different. Brer Rabbit had gotten his carrots back. He'd gotten some carrot stew he didn't even have to make. He'd gotten a hen, some cranberry sauce, potato salad, and his very favorite dessert, a sweet potato pie. And that's when he sang the song Brer Fox had been singing, but he sang it a little differently. It sounded like this. Brer Fox was walking around my carrot patch, picking up every carrot he seed. He grabbed a few, not just two, but the carrot stew he made was for me. And that, my friends, is how Brer Rabbit had himself a very Merry Christmas. And to you and yours, you have a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season. The end. Thank you.